Everyone. Hi, my name is Thomas Johnson, and I'm the founder and CEO of GetUpNGetFit, Wellness and Fitness Coaching Concierge. And I'm also the C-suite advisor, investor, and you're listening to How May I Serve You, where I'm constantly on the quest to surround myself with the best coaches while learning how to better serve our executive clientele by asking them what they want and need directly. Today's guest is Mike Skrypnek. How you doing, Mike?
Oh, I'm doing amazing. How are you, Thomas?
I'm good. I'm good. So Mike is a business coach, international speaker, and 7-time best-selling author. His proprietary training teaches mid-career entrepreneurs, business owners to grow your business, build your mountain of credibility, to grow more freedom, adopt Mike's freedom rules, to give back, turn profit into big impact giving. Woo, Mike!
Yeah.
Listen, your mission, your vision is incredible, and I love it. I love it, man. So Mike, I want you to tell us a little more about yourself. Give us the 2-minute version. Okay?
The 2-minute version. That's hilarious. So that's a good introduction. So I am a business coach. I live, work, and play in the Sea to Sky corridor in British Columbia, Canada, with my family. We have 2 wonderful young adult children, my wife and I, and we live what I call a grow, get, give lifestyle, which is exactly what you just kind of intimated that's part of my training, but it's also part of my life habit, which is, just growing our impact in life. And just, we just find joy in the work we do, which is guiding other people, which is what I do, is guiding other people, and then pursuing our passions alongside, which are life habits. We're snowboarders, we're mountain bikers, we're hikers, we're living life in a big way. And, I've always, embraced the combination of this business and lifestyle adventure. And it's just who we are and what we do. So it's pretty cool. I have to say, I live in one of the nicest places on the planet, really.
Yeah, Mike, actually, so your son recently started following me on Instagram, and I see he posting up these incredible mountain bike tricks in the woods. I'm like, wow, what is Mike feeding these kids?
Yeah, both of our kids are downhill mountain bike racers. Our daughter has moved on to focus on her studies in film school, but our son is pursuing his World Cup career here in 2021. So, I mean, I used to really worry about it. It's funny you ask, because we're talking about coaching here.
Yeah.
And I've had the luxury, and because you've met some elite performers in your life, like between celebrities and business owners and athletes, we all know, or a lot of us know, what it's like at the elite level, what it's like to meet people like that. And then they always go, yeah, I always knew it, ever since I was, 5 years old. But I'm having the chance, and it's such an honor. And my heart is filled with gratitude that I've been able to live it with our kids, and our son in particular, who's pursuing mastery at the highest level in one of the most extreme activities you can imagine. Definitely. And I get to watch it, and I get to learn. Like, I'm taking notes, right? Because I never saw the journey. I only saw the result. And so it's great to be part of that.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Just the fact that this is your son, right? And as a father, of course, you care about your children's safety, but you respect his craft so much, and you trust them to support him in his achievement of his elite goal. And that's incredible right there, Mike. That's incredible.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
So, Mike, so why did you get into coaching? Right? 'Cause you're a coach. You are an elite coach. Why did you get into coaching, and who do you coach primarily?
Well, I think that, there's people who get into coaching, and there's people who are inherently coaches. And, all my life, I reflected on that, and maybe at portions of my life, my adulthood in a career, I wasn't defined as a coach, but I look back and I'd always been coaching. I helped in sport. I helped in music. I've helped in academics. I mean, I remember tutoring kids when I was just a kid, and then coaching sports and athletics was a big deal. And for me, in all the pursuits I had, I really enjoyed being coached by great people. So, I would say I come by it naturally, that being a coach is just part of the fabric of someone who takes their role seriously in other people's lives. I believe that in a bigger way, that impact is, I've been playing around with this, Thomas, and you haven't even heard it. Like I think impact is interstellar. What I mean by that is we have a chance to make like a cosmic ripple effect, right? That by putting in energy in a right way, because I think I have the tools. I have a great background of information and wisdom. At this age, I believe I have a little bit now, and the ability to communicate. And so if I can take that and help others and start with what if we just added the right energy, the right information, the right tools, the right process, the right strategic thinking at the right time, and then stuck with them, like stayed with somebody. Because what mattered to me when I was coach is the coaches who cared. The coaches, the Mickey Goldmill who's in Rocky's corner, Yoda, like he cared, he was there, and he just like was living to serve and to help others. And so for me, that's kind of how I find myself, is I got some tools and some wisdom and some knowledge, and I have this commitment to serve those who want to be served and need to be lifted up.
Yeah, see that right there, that's the key. Having that commitment, having that passion to serve others. I need my water right now.
It's all right. Yeah, well, it is the passion. It's passion to serve others. And then, I think a lot of people, and I've been coached by people who really aren't, they want your success, and then they stop, they put a ceiling on it, and they really don't want you to be more successful than them.
Yeah.
And the sign of a true leader is someone who raises others up to have the greatest success that they can have. And it just if it happens to be better than, in my space, in my competitive space, so be it. Great that they have the opportunity. Chances are I'm not going to be coaching my direct competitors very frequently, but I don't care. I mean, if I'm part of lifting someone up to the heights that they deserve to be at, that they strive to be at, then the impact's pretty good.
But you know what, Mike? You just highlighted on the abundance mindset, right? That's your mindset right now. You're not thinking about anything of lack. You're focusing on abundance, on how can I serve others. And by having that mentality, things tend to turn out for the better, right? And that's a beautiful way of thinking right there. So, Mike, I know there are different types of coaches and different styles. So, how do you approach coaching? What's your style, man?
Well, we've had some experience together. I think the coaching style I bring is a combination of EQ and IQ. I haven't said it in that way before, but really it is. I lead with listening. That's an important trait of coaching, but not just the fact that you're listening, but active listening, probing to find out. I spent 22 years in financial services, so I spent most of that time on the phone, and I could really got a knack for understanding the emotion, what people were really saying, even when they weren't saying it, but how it came out in their voice, right? And it's one thing to identify that. The next step, of course, is to take it another step further. So helping others identify the things that they're working on. And so lead by listening. I think adding IQ to EQ, so having the ability to relate personally and make a connection, and then adding some fundamental wisdom, some things you've learned. Yes. I think coaching traits, one of the strongest coaching traits are coaches who've been there and had done that. And not, there's a lot of default coaches. I know in the last 5 or 10 years, there's a lot of people who, got laid off of some other business and something else. And they say, well, I'm going to coach.
Yes.
And, it's not that simple. Coaching, a success would like to see a person achieving success would like to learn from another person who's achieved success. So there's a lot of failures in life and a lot of failures as an entrepreneur and an owner, but the coach that you select should have some personal experience, firsthand experience in business success, personal success, as well as failures. They can't just fail and default to coaching. That's not the route.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And also, one thing that you mentioned before, every coach needs a coach. Your origin, you started off by gravitating towards coaches, right?
Yeah.
So every coach needs a coach, and having that student mentality is really, really helpful when it comes to constantly looking for ways and means to improve yourself and to separate yourself from the rest, because you're constantly looking for knowledge and education. So that's a beautiful thing right there.
Yeah, just
So
being a seeker.
yeah, there you go. So if someone was looking to, if someone was looking for a coach, right, Mike? What traits would you advise they look for? I know you just highlighted, finding somebody with experience, but can you expound on that? What other traits would you advise they look for in a coach?
Yeah, it depends on what you're doing. So
Okay.
it's really, unique, because I've had coaches. I hired coaches and invested heavily in coaches that were industry specific, because at a certain period of time I really needed some industry advice. And then I've hired coaches who are not generalists, but have more diversified skills and messaging and communicating. So really, identifying a coach that can deliver that which you need. If you're seeking on becoming a better speaker, maybe you should go talk to people who are vocal coaches, message and marketing coaches versus a speaker coach, right? Because a messaging and marketing person and a vocal coach will help you in the performance, not just in, here's what speakers do,
Correct.
So select coaches who can enhance and coaches who inherently know. And if you can balance that, and sometimes you get a coach who's great all around that has industry information. I like to say that that's what I do. I work with people in health and wealth, right? Because I have a fundamental knowledge in the health world. You and I have connected because, I also had this experience as a kinesiologist and, trainer. And in the early 90s, that was a key part of my life. But then the wealth industry, which I spent a couple decades in. So understanding, where you fit, and the coach having an understanding that they can relate to you. You certainly don't want a coach who, coaches only swimmers, let's say, and then you ask them to come in the boardroom and teach you some engineering principles. Like, it's just, you have to find people who have a blend of the ability to communicate combined with the ability to listen and an understanding of what you're going to live through, walking those miles.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason why I decided to work with you, right? You have that knowledge of the wellness world, right? Of the fitness world. You have the experience. You've been there, and you also have the experience of philanthropy, which I'm striving to work towards. So, and you have the experience of wealth building. So all three right there. So it makes sense.
It's a trifecta.
It's trifecta. So specificity is important. It definitely is. So give us a 2 to 3 minute success story, Mike. All right, of working with a client and you made a tremendous impact on their life. So we want to know right now. We're curious to know more about your story.
I like to say that I'm a coach who gets it. So it's also understanding what you know.
Okay.
And interestingly, just quickly, I don't coach mid-level executives. That's just not it's owners. The owner mindset really matters to me. So I have this client, and he's in a really unique business. I met him and he said, I don't have any clients anywhere I live. And the clients I do have, I can't talk about them. Right. So that's a challenging problem. And he is an engineer. Right. And so there's this engineer who I begin working with, and his business is to provide wide body global jet planes to the rich and famous, heads of state, presidents, kings, and queens. And obviously he can't show his work because no one wants to show the inside of their jet, and he can't talk about them. So, and he's an engineer. And so he took the helm of his entire company a little over a year ago. And he was also tasked with taking over the marketing responsibility. Right. And so you're asking an engineer who is incredibly good at the making it happen, to connect with people and then enter a pandemic doing it. So what we did is I worked with him to be named, in building this whole infrastructure that is simple, that became something he could implement very simply, get his head around, understand, and take out the threat of marketing and make it very simple for an engineer like him. So he was able to get positioned, and it's been a hard year, and anyone can attest to that. And if you're in airline business of any sort, it hasn't been easy. But he dedicated himself to a process that we put him through implementing what I call building a mountain of credibility. And piece by piece, effort by effort, step by step, he's managed to put this into place. And then the fall, all of a sudden, the fruits of his labor began to be harvested. And he had opportunity after opportunity, and recently had a massive opportunity that just came out of the blue effectively that could set him up for the next few years. So it's a great success story. It's the beginning of a long story, but really understanding. And if I didn't understand that an engineer needed some real distinct way of describing how to build his mountain of credibility, then we would have had some challenges. Right? If I just threw him into the fire and said, you just got to go out and make cold calls and call, that's not his nature. It's not how he thinks. And we were able to construct something that he could think of, execute, and he doesn't have to be the front man. He doesn't have to be the marketing expert. So that's just an example of someone or a client that has had some real success. And we built some real interesting methodology and a process for him to get there.
No, that's an amazing story, because looking at someone and being able to assess what they need and what they are capable of, and how you can utilize their strength and delegate the weaknesses to other processes, other people, it's amazing. So that story right there, it's a great story, because a lot of folks who are transitioning are going through the exact same thing. Probably not as the extent of that situation, but there are a lot of folks transitioning right now. And I'm pretty sure by them listening to this podcast and your story, they will definitely become more aware and motivated to step outside the comfort zone. So thanks for sharing that, Mike.
No problem. I mean, I knew nothing about the airline industry or the corporate jet industry. But where I was able to help is the communication, because I understand that he's selling an intricate product.
Definitely.
Idea. It's conceptual, and it's really a service more than a product. And he's selling it to a certain mindset, to a certain marketplace. And so when I say I'm in the health and wealth, I help people in the health and wealth industry, it's because we hold health and wealth so dear to our hearts that there's a communication that's required from those who are in those industries to ensure their customers have a great experience and attract the customer that is the right fit.
There you go. There you go. So, Mike, if someone were to acquire about your services or just want to connect with you, where can they find you?
Well, my name isn't that easy to spell, but it is the only one. So if you Google Mike Skrypnek, you'll find me. You'll find me the first page, and I'll be all over it. But really, you could also go to a website, growgetgive.com. That's where you can find me. Check me out on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I'm there under my name. And you search my name or Grow Get Give, and you're going to find me most times. As well, Thomas, just because I do this when people ask me to be on stage like this, I'll just give away. I can give someone my free book just by going to gggsecrets.com. They just get a free book, get a meeting with me. It's that simple.
There you go. And Mike, I know you recently just published a new book, right? So let's talk about your book for like 2 seconds. So talk to us about your book, right? That amazing, because you are an amazing author, and you've published numerous books. So this new book, let's talk about it a little, because you collaborated with someone else.
Oh yeah, it's exciting. Like I had a book I published, Grow Get Give Secrets, a year ago, starting this January, right? And then all of a sudden I published another ebook, and I was part of a compilation project. So 3 books got off my desk and into publication this year. The last one was something called Cracking the Rich Code, which was a compilation project with Jim Britt, who was part of the founding team, who worked with Jim Rohn, and he worked with Anthony Robbins, right? But Jim Britt and Kevin Harrington. So it was a collaborative co-author book, and I was one of the key authors in there. So that's the most recent one that came off the presses in September, and it's exciting. I don't know what I'm going to do in the future as far as a book goes, but the last year I've been helping others get the books that they have within them, the entrepreneurs who have books in them, out of them. And I'm working with about 5 people right now, and we got 4 books from other people published.
Busy,
and their lives are launched, right? Because when you get that out of you, it's just such an enormous launching pad. So I do recommend anyone who's thinking about a book, if you don't have one, you got to have one.
There you go. And reach out to Mike. So his last name is spelled Skrypnek. Skrypnek. Okay.
Yeah, buy a
All right.
vowel.
Exactly. So, Mike, thank you for coming, and thank you all so much for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed today's episode, please feel free to share with someone that might benefit from listening. And last but not least, Mike, how may I serve you?
Thomas, getting the good word out, sharing like you're doing, using this platform to give others a chance to learn from what you're bringing to the table and the people that you draw insights out of. Just keep doing that and share what I'm happy to be out there in whatever universe you put us out into, because I want to make this cosmic ripple in this universe. So
there we go. Let's make this cosmic ripple happen, Mike. Thank you again for happening, and continue to crush it. Take care.
Awesome.